Most people think a dog placing a paw on your arm, your knee, or your hand is just a cute little habit. Maybe they assume it means pet me, or feed me, or simply pay attention to me. And sometimes, yes, it can mean one of those things. But if we stop there, we miss something much more meaningful. In many cases, that paw is not random at all. It is not clumsy affection. It is not an accident. It is communication quiet, deliberate, and often deeply emotional. Dogs do not have words, so they use what they do have: body position, eye contact, movement, stillness, and touch. And touch matters. A paw placed gently on your leg can be your dog's way of asking for connection, reassurance, comfort, or response. It can mean, "I want to be close." It can mean, "I'm unsure right now." It can even mean, "Are you okay?" For many dogs, the paw is not just a gesture. It is a bridge. That is what makes our response so important. From a human perspective, it can be easy to laugh it off, brush it away, or ignore it because we are busy. Life moves quickly. We are cooking, working, texting, thinking about 10 things at once. But from the dog's perspective, that small moment may be an intentional attempt to reach us. And when those moments are met with warmth, attention, and calm understanding, the bond tends to deepen. The dog learns something powerful. When I communicate, I am heard. That feeling changes a relationship. Because trust is not built only through feeding, walking, or training. Trust is built when communication works both ways. When your dog offers a signal and you respond with sensitivity, you teach them that connection is safe. You teach them that their efforts matter. Over time, this can make a dog more expressive, more confident, and more emotionally open. They do not need to escalate their behavior to be noticed, because they already know you are listening. But the opposite can happen too. If a dog repeatedly reaches out and gets dismissed, pushed away, or misunderstood, they may begin trying less. Not because they no longer care, but because communication that leads nowhere often fades. And this is where many loving owners unintentionally create distance. Not through cruelty, but through missed meaning. The dog is speaking in the language they know, and the human, without realizing it, may not be answering. That is why this topic matters so much. A paw touch may look small, but small signals often carry the deepest truth. They reveal that your dog is not simply living beside you, they are trying to relate to you. They're trying to connect in real time with the tools nature gave them. So the next time your dog places a paw on you, pause for a moment before assuming it is just a habit. Look at the whole picture. What is happening around them? What is their body saying? What is their face saying? Are they asking, checking in, seeking comfort, or offering it? Because sometimes, one gentle paw says more than words ever could. And how you answer that message may shape whether your dog keeps speaking to you at all. Here is something many dog owners miss. When a dog places a paw on you, it is rarely random. At first glance, it can look like a cute little habit. Maybe you assume your dog wants a treat, wants attention, or is simply being affectionate. And sometimes that is part of it. But if we look more closely, the paw touch is often something far more intentional. In the language of dogs, this is not the same as barking, jumping, or whining. Those behaviors can be loud, urgent, and impossible to ignore. A paw, by contrast, is quiet, measured, controlled. It is one of the gentlest ways a dog can try to reach you. And that gentleness matters, because in behavioral terms, a dog does not always choose the same strategy with every person. Around someone they do not fully trust, they may stay back, avoid contact, bark from a distance, or become more physically restless. But around someone they feel safe with, they may choose a softer approach. That is what makes the paw so meaningful. In a very real sense, your dog may be saying, "I trust you enough to approach gently." Not forcefully, not dramatically, just enough to make contact and see what comes back. That small gesture reveals something important about the relationship. It tells us your dog is not simply reacting. They are choosing. They are making a social decision. And in the world of attachment, that is a big deal. A dog who places a paw on your leg, your arm, or your hand is often not just asking for something physical. They may be opening a moment of connection, a check-in, a shared pause, a silent question. Are you with me right now? That is why the paw can feel so personal. It is not only contact, it is communication. And in the social life of dogs, touch often works both ways. Dogs lean on each other, rest against each other, groom through proximity, and read one another through body contact. So, when your dog touches you with a paw, they may be trying to create that same kind of mutual space with you, almost like starting a conversation without words. Not necessarily a demand, but an invitation. You might notice it most when you are sitting quietly, working, feeling emotional, or even distracted. Suddenly, there is that paw. Light, steady, deliberate. In a noisy human world, it can be easy to overlook. But from the dog's perspective, it may be one of the clearest signals they know how to give. And how you respond can shape what happens next. If that gesture is consistently ignored, pushed away, or misunderstood, some dogs may stop using it. Not because they stop caring, but because subtle communication only survives when it works. On the other hand, when a dog reaches out and finds calm attention, eye contact, or gentle reassurance, the bond deepens. They learn that softness is enough, that they do not need to escalate to be heard. Maybe that is the most beautiful part of all. A dog's paw is not always asking for food or petting. Sometimes it is something much deeper, a quiet act of trust, a social bridge, a gentle attempt to say, I'm here, are you here too? And when we learn to hear that message, we do more than understand our dogs better. We meet them, perhaps for just a moment, in their world. Here's where the paw touch becomes even more meaningful. It is not always about getting something simple like food. Very often, it is about changing something in the dog's world. A dog may place a paw on you because they want a door opened, a walk started, a game continued, or your attention shifted back toward them. In behavior terms, this is a kind of social solicitation, a quiet attempt to influence the environment through you, the person they trust most, to make things happen. And that matters, because it means your dog is not just reacting impulsively. They are using communication strategically. You can often tell this by the way the paw changes over time. At first, it may be light and polite, just a soft touch on your arm or knee. But if nothing happens, some dogs will try again with more pressure. The paw becomes heavier, more insistent, maybe repeated. That escalation is important. It suggests the first message did not land. In other words, your dog may be thinking, I asked gently, maybe I need to be clearer. That is a very relatable form of communication, and honestly, a very human one too. It reminds us that dogs are constantly adjusting their signals based on whether they feel heard. But pawing is not only about action. Sometimes it is about emotion. Research suggests that dogs are remarkably sensitive to human stress-related signals. Studies have shown that dogs can respond to human stress odors even without visual or verbal cues, and other research has found that dogs and owners can show synchrony in long-term stress patterns, suggesting that dogs may be deeply affected by the emotional climate we live in together. There is also evidence for emotional contagion, meaning dogs can reflect aspects of human emotional states, especially distress. So when your dog places a paw on you during a hard day, when you are quiet, tense, overwhelmed, or sad, that gesture may not be random at all. It may be your dog noticing a change in you and offering the only kind of comfort they know how to give, contact. And then there is a third reason, one that is easy to miss because it looks so gentle. Sometimes the paw is not only for your comfort. Sometimes it is for theirs. If your dog is pawing while their ears are slightly back, their face looks softer or uncertain, or they are yawning, turning away, or showing other subtle calming signals, the message may be less, do something for me, and more, help me feel safe. Reviews of dog communication and welfare consistently note that body language such as ear position, yawning, and other low-intensity signals can reflect emotional tension or appeasement. In that moment, your dog may be using your body like an anchor, almost grounding themselves through your steadiness. Your calm nervous system becomes something they can borrow. And maybe that is the deepest truth in all of this. A paw is not always a demand. Sometimes it is a request. Sometimes it is comfort. Sometimes it is empathy. And sometimes it is trust made visible. The more carefully we learn to read that small gesture, the more clearly we begin to see the emotional intelligence living inside the dog beside us. Here is the deeper invitation in all of this. When your dog places a paw on you, do not treat it as a moment to simply smile, give a quick pat, and move on. Stay there for a second. Look at them. Let your attention settle. Because to your dog, that moment may be much bigger than it looks. We live in a fast world. We are often answering messages, making dinner, thinking ahead, or rushing from one task to the next. And in that pace, it is easy to respond to a dog's paw the same way we respond to everything else quickly, automatically, without really entering the moment. But dogs do not speak in paragraphs. They speak in gestures, pauses, posture, breath, eye contact, and touch. So when your dog reaches out with a paw, that may be one of the clearest messages they know how to send. And if that is true, then acknowledgement matters. Not just touch, not just habit, but acknowledgement. A soft look, a pause, a calm voice, eye contact that says, "I see you." Because connection is not built only by reacting to behavior. It is built when the other being feels recognized. In humanized science terms, attention itself can become regulating. When your dog reaches out and you meet that signal with presence rather than distraction, you are doing more than being kind. You are strengthening the emotional loop that says, when I communicate, I am understood. When I reach, someone reaches back. That is the foundation of trust. And perhaps the most important shift any dog guardian can make is learning to notice the difference between a paw that asks and a paw that offers. Sometimes, the paw is a request. It wants something changed, a door opened, a walk started, a bit of reassurance, a little more closeness. But sometimes, the paw is not asking for anything at all. Sometimes it is simply there resting lightly on your arm, your leg, your hand, as if your dog is giving you a quiet offering of presence. That difference matters, because a paw that asks is communication. A paw that offers is relationship. A paw that asks says, "Can you help me?" A paw that offers says, "I trust you enough to be soft here." And when you begin to feel that difference, something changes in the bond. Your dog stops being just a pet you care for and becomes someone whose inner world you are starting to understand more clearly. You stop reacting only to the action and begin listening for the meaning beneath it. That is where a deep relationship begins, not in perfect training, not in endless commands, but in mutual understanding. So the next time your dog places a paw on you, stay with it a little longer. Do not rush to label it. Do not rush to dismiss it. Let your body slow down enough to hear what that small gesture may be saying. Because in many ways, the paw is your dog's most honest sentence. Not spoken, but felt. Not dramatic, but true. And perhaps, at its deepest, it says this: "You are the place where I do not have to be afraid anymore." One day, you'll wish you had understood these little signs sooner. So don't wait. Like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who loves their dog like family.